What makes a good film? This is Mark and Pete Live. I'm Pete the Clergyman. This is Mark the Businessman with me as always. Now, what do you reckon about this? What makes a good film then, Mark?
Well, it's all about the experience, the silver screen, and a great plot. Well, in my opinion, that we've seen some great movies in recent times. Over the years, I've got my preference. We'll talk about that. I know that you like certain types of movies,
I do,
but what
yes.
really grabs you when you actually go into the cinema? Well, I feel that sometimes technology overtakes things, and not always critics feel that we're going in the right direction. I'll give you a clue. Are we in a state of flux at the flicks? A star is born and adoration worn when a movie is a blockbuster, but through popcorn you'll start to yawn when the story is lackluster. Yes, Clergyman Pete, it's all about the story for me, not about the special effects. How say you?
Yes, well, I do also think it's about the story, it's about the plot, uh, it's about the casting because you want to have good actors who fit in with their role. I do like special effects movies, as long as they're done well, of course. But that isn't what comes first. The special effects need to serve the plot and the characters in the story. So, yeah, I think that's the uh, that's the emphasis there should be. Get the plot right, get there to be
Yes.
a good story, and you've got a good movie.
Now, I'm afraid there's another ingredient that I'm going to declare my hand
Oh
because
dear.
I like musicals.
Ah,
And the reason I like it is that I just want to be entertained. I like the idea of the fact that you've got some little earworm going around your head, a catchy little tune. So I'll
yes.
give you an example. I like the idea of watching, so West Side Story, great film, great plot, really good. I like those sort of films that sort of take a grab of history and, you've got My Fair Lady and things like that. They're all very good, and I think the performances are great. The direction's pacey, and look, let's be honest,
Well,
who
have you
doesn't?
got any more recent ones, though? More recent musicals that you liked? That's quite a few years
Mary
ago.
Poppins?
Yes,
Well,
it
actually,
was
there is
your
the remake, and that's one of the other things I was going to say, which is that whilst the original Mary Poppins, of course, is very popular, I did actually see very recently the remake, which I actually didn't dislike. I know it got a little bit of criticism, but I actually felt that it did quite well. But the one thing that I would say is, and I'm sorry to have to say, because I know that we'll get lots of complaints, but I really hated La La Land. And the reason I didn't like it is because sometimes the songs are either too boring, the direction's too dull, and it doesn't have an appropriate plot. And I think that what I think can often be the case is that some try too hard. And here's another example, which is The Greatest Showman. And this was something where I thought there was one or two good performances, one or two good songs, but he was a bit labored. And I didn't feel that the plot, I come back to this, was really successful. I thought it tried to race through the film with one or two repeated songs that were very, very similar, folks. Could have thought of maybe some other ideas of tunes. And so this is where I tend to be a little bit more traditional. I feel that some of the movies of the past, whether they're animation or otherwise, just worked a lot harder on the characters and the performances and the songs.
yes.
So,
Oh, you're
Clergyman Pete,
thinking
I
of
know
like.
that you're not favoured in the musical
Well, the thing is,
direction, but
yes. One thing.
you are in action-packed movies.
Well, yes, I like action movies. Well, I don't like specifically. I think this is where I gain popularity with our listeners. I think they're going to agree with me here. I don't like musicals. I don't like
Well,
songs in the film. What I do is when there's a film which has songs in it, I wait for the song to end. And all right, now we're going to get on with the plot, with the actual movie,
yeah, but
instead
the
of the
song can
stupid
help the
songs.
plot. I mean, sometimes it
Yeah.
shows the character, and it's something you can take away.
No,
You can go buy
no,
the
no.
record. I mean, it's
It's always
brilliant.
just irritating.
Well,
So I don't really like that. I mean, I know some of the older Disney movies, which were when you
yes,
were talking
there is a
about older
favourite.
movies. Yeah.
Shall we declare my hand on this one, which is
Yes, declare your favourite. Yes, go ahead.
Jungle Book, and it's the bare necessities of life.
Yeah, but yes,
I
that is a
just
good
think
song, but
that is a great song,
yeah,
beautifully observed and well performed.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, I understand your view on that, but just in general on movies and indeed plays.
Mm.
I don't like musicals. I do like sort of superhero movies, escapist movies.
Mm.
Again, there needs to
Too
be a
many
good.
special effects. Where's the plot?
Well, yeah. Well, you need a good plot, and you need special effects that are convincing enough.
Mm.
One of the things that I always say about movies is a movie has to be internally consistent. So you could have your superheroes, for example, the in the latest Spider-Man movie, you have people with lots of superpowers, and you go into the multiverse, lots of unbelievable things. But as long as there's an internal logic to it, it works.
Mm.
You've got to be very careful, though, to fit with the logic. I'll just give you an example. This is in lots of action movies. You often have people being, you have your hero being able to dodge around and thus escape being shot.
Yes.
But what you often have is there's no logic to him not being shot. You need to be eternally logical,
Mm.
internally consistent. So you have it such that the bad guys can get shot, but the good guy, with the same distance from the gun, the
Mm.
people unaccountably miss.
Mm.
So that's not internally consistent. There's no proper logic to it,
Yeah.
and then it brings you out of the movie. So that's when there's a problem with special effects as well. When the special effects bring you out of the movie, it just isn't
Now,
realistic enough.
I'm going to agree
Or
with you on one thing is
or yeah, go ahead.
in the cinema, that cinematic experience, which you can't get on the small screen, but I do agree an action-packed film is good. You get the sound, the resonance, the boom, and the whole experience. But I will want to ask you is, and we can't really talk about going to the movies without talking about what's your choice of food when you're actually
Yes,
watching a movie, and
yes.
what irritates you most at a movie?
Well, of course, noisy snacks are irritating because you don't this, especially if someone's right behind you. You get the crunching
Yeah.
interfering with your experience of the movie. Not in the noisy bits. I guess it doesn't matter. So if people time it well, then it's
Yeah.
fine. As regular listeners will know, I'm on a low carb diet, so
Yeah.
I don't have sweets anymore. So my most recent visit to the cinema, I had a little bit of cheese with some nuts that I took in a bag, and it was very, very
Has
nice.
any
And
I'm sorry. I'd love to know how many of our listeners take in cheese to watch a film.
well, yes, they should start doing because cheese is not fattening. Interestingly, because it's mainly made of fat and protein,
Yes.
but that doesn't equal fat on the body.
Yes,
And if I mean this is radio and podcast,
strongly.
so you can't see me, but yes, I am quite slim.
Mm.
And the reason that I am like that is because I don't eat sweets. But I suppose my if it weren't going to have the deleterious effect of giving me a wobbly belly, I would go for the pick and mix sweets.
Well, I would agree
And,
because that you've just stolen my thunder because that's exactly what I like. And of course, they're great because they don't crunch, most of them, or certainly maybe the way that you eat, maybe not. But the fact of the matter is, I think that if you're enjoying a film, you've got to have some kind of sustenance all the way through it. Now, some people like popcorn, but the problem with popcorn is that it can make you very dry, and you end up drinking far more Coca Cola than you need to. Um, and yeah, in terms of irritations, I don't like the old elbow barging or people chatting and
yeah.
saying, "Now tell me, can you explain that plot again for me?
Yes,
Just
yes, people
shut
are
up and
asking about the
listen
plot.
to it."
Yes. It's especially irritating if someone has seen the movie before and they're telling their
Oh
friend
yes.
what's gonna happen next.
Now, closing Pete, I've got an idea closing out on this. I like musicals, you like action films. What about this as an idea? Look, we've seen now at a milestone that why don't we have a musical James Bond? Thought.
Yes, why don't we? I can think of very good reasons.
Ah,
Certainly, I would find it very tedious. But on the other hand, it's the new James Bond. It isn't out yet. Who knows what tricks they are going to try and employ to
hmm.
get people watching it. Yeah. So yes. In closing, I think we're saying that it's a very subjective thing. What makes a good film for you? But really, it's the whole experience, isn't it? Yes, in the movie you want a good plot, and for you want songs, and for me I want a lot of action. But it's the whole experience, including going to the cinema, having something to eat. It's having other people in the in the place watching with you. The whole experience is what makes a good film, not simply the actual making of it, but your experience in watching it at the cinema. So let us know what you think, gentle listener. Just let us know what is your favorite film. Did you see the new Batman movie? Did you see the latest Spiderman movie? Have you been singing along to the latest musicals? Let us know. But that's it from Mark and Pete for this time. Remember to subscribe and, as I say, leave a comment. Bye for now.
Look for the bare necessities, Mother Nature's recipe.